Okay, good. So before we go to introduce ourselves again, I just want to make an announcement since I am no longer active faculty member at the University of South Florida. I'm not allowed, according to our bylaws, to remain the chief negotiator. So Greg is taking over the interim role of the bargaining chair, chief negotiator, and has given me the authority to handle this session. Okay, I just want to make that clear from the very beginning. And now you also have seen we have new members, and you will find out who they are when we start introducing ourselves. So since you're the new bargaining chair, chief negotiator, why don't you give us the honors?
Okay, so I am the interim bargaining chair. I am also the union's minister of propaganda. I am in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics. And there will be statistics today, so be prepared. To learn something.
You?
I'm Susan Ariev. I'm university librarian at USF Tampa Library.
You want to see the dog?
Karen Baunsberger, outgoing chief negotiator, former faculty member, professor of entrepreneurship and innovation.
I'm Justin Henry. I'm assistant professor of religious studies and a new member of the bargaining committee.
Sonia, I'm just one more time, I'm an instructor of work languages. Cynthia Patterson, I'm the associate chair of the English department on the Tampa campus.
Chris Garvin, professor of design and art and dean of the College of Design Art Performance.
I'm Steve Tauber. I'm a professor of political science and I'm a vice provost for faculty administration.
Michael Farrell, human resources.
Michael Bannermore.
Greg Dawson, General Counsel's Office.
Olga Joanno, USF Health.
Okay, so I'm just going to take over the word. Since we have been bargaining like for a year and a half and we haven't really agreed on much, I would like to start this with a little fact finding or just finding out your beliefs. So I'm going to start with the question: what is your purpose for these meetings? What are your goals?
Our purpose is to get together with the certified representative of the faculty, which is the United Faculty of Florida chapter here. We represent the Board of Trustees and the university's administration's interests, and that we hope to get to an agreed upon resolution of any issues you bring up, or any issues or changes we would like to see to the collective bargaining agreement.
Okay, good.
And so, that's where we've been at. Now, if we go back to the beginning of this process, we first attempted to have a quick resolution, if you remember.
I do remember.
Which was pretty much keeping the contract as it is. But there were issues you wanted to work through. There were changes you wanted to make to the contract that you wanted to bring to our attention and try to work through some language. That's your right. So we respect that.
Okay, good.
And so that's what we've been doing.
Okay. So when we were preparing for this bargaining session, I did send out a public records request to General Counsel. Unfortunately, I did not get an acknowledgement of receipt for about a week, and I still have not received the files that I had been asking for. And Greg, as the interim chair, may I turn it over to you?
Okay, I also put in a public information request. I put it in multiple times. I got only one response, which was incorrect. I had asked for the result in May, how many people from various different colleges got 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s from
PTR.
from the PIP, and I got a response which did not include everyone who got dinged. So I asked for a correct response, and I have not gotten even though I have sent multiple times in, I would appreciate the response, a correct response to that public information request.
Yeah, and I
The
also.
same one that I distributed last time, still no response.
Yeah, and I also included that particular request when I did my public records request. So we really have some stuff to work on, because if we are coming here, we need to be properly prepared. One of the big questions that I had asked from General Counsel is, what do you do with your ADI money? And I have not received a response. So that is one of the problems. So what we are going to start out today, and unfortunately, ProCopy decided to staple all of this together, but we're going to start with the salary article. So just ignore, just go to the salary article. That would be 23, and then I'm going to give Cynthia. Do you have a copy?
I have a comparison on
Okay.
my computer, thank you.
So, well, then the rest can go to you guys if you hand it out, please.
We are going to 23 right now?
23 right now. Let's start with that. And then I'm going to hand it over to you again, because you also prepared data across the United States. And unfortunately, we don't have photocopies for all of you. Do you mind sharing? And I'm going to keep one of that. And then Greg, if you would please explain the data to us.
Okay, so let me just get this up. On this is from Bloomberg Law, and they looked at a whole bunch of weighted contracts, and they computed two averages, one based on raises per contract, and the other is raises per worker. And you'll notice on the front page that the salaries for, where is it? The salaries for public document requests. Sorry, I'm trying to post it online, the poor thing. My computer has not been caught. Okay, so on the first page, what you will see is that the raises won by unions went up when the inflation burst occurred. And we'll notice is both unions in general got better contracts.
Do you need this?
Well, actually, what I need is my computer. I'm very sorry, folks. My computer is not behaving.
Take your time. We're good.
So this is, thank you. Okay, for some reason, my computer froze.
Can you do it with?
Still working now?
I am now trying to see, the computer is currently saying that the camera is not working, but Zoom says that the camera is working, so I do not know what it is doing. Okay, so let me just
Okay, got it.
okay, so now I'm going to share so that people online can see it. I'm very sorry for the misbehavior of this computer. There we go.
There you are.
Okay, so what's on the front page is they start in 2010 and end at 2024. And you'll notice that the first burst of inflation occurred in 2020, and there was a response in 2021. Because contracts tend to be often year by year, there was this delay. And you'll see that both the average increase per contract and the average increase per worker went up. And by the beginning of 2024, they were both between 7% and 8%. And the thing is that when people read newspapers saying this union got this contract, that union got that contract, this is what faculty members see. So they see, there's all these other places, United Auto Workers and places like that. They get these kinds of raises. And so they're wondering, why can't we have raises like that too? The second page, the other two pages have breakdowns, and you can take a look at them. The interesting thing is on the third page. Third page is sort of counterintuitive. Bloomberg broke it down into regions. And so you can say, well, the South has lower raises recently, but in fact, that is not exactly true. Exactly what is going on in there is a very interesting question. But Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware, talking about average 7.8%. So the thing is, again, this is what people read when they read in the news. So faculty read in the news. These are the kinds of raises that auto workers are getting. These are the kind of raises that transportation people are getting. When you pick up the newspaper, these are the kind of raises they're getting. And then they get a missive from the president's office saying that because of contract negotiations, there's no raise for union people, but for non-union people, they will get 2%. You all know psychology as well as I am, so you can draw the conclusions about the reaction to faculty to missive of that sort. So what we're saying is, if we're going to have a contract, the contract's going to have Article 23 in it. Article 23 is going to specify a raise, and we have to get it ratified. And so we would have to send it out to faculty saying, do you agree to this raise? Faculty talk about money all the time. And they're reading the newspaper, so they have certain expectations. And, ratification of a contract is going to be an issue under these things. So we're just being realistic. How can you get a contract ratified? And the question is, what faculty are willing to vote for, given that this is what they read? We already have a survey. The survey had much better turnout than the survey that President Law described yesterday. So we are fairly confident that this also indicates that faculty want, and this is what the results of the survey indicates that faculty wants the kind of raise that they read about in Bloomberg. So that's the reality.
And then also part of the reality is some of us were at the Board of Trustee meeting yesterday, and my telephone was blowing up afterwards with messages and phone calls. And so on one hand, the president wants more grants, and the number of $1 billion per year was noted. The president also wants us to become one of the top 25 research universities in the country. And faculty know that a key ingredient to reaching these goals are faculty. So they ask me to ask you, why do you believe that we have not deserved more than a 2% pay increase per year for the next 3 years? And I thought that was a pretty good question.
Well, I think we've talked about that number in a couple of previous negotiating sessions. Some of it has to do with the fact that we have to live within our means. And we have to live within the appropriations of the funding sources that we have. And we have to be fiscally responsible.
Well, we all see that, but we also saw yesterday during the presentation that there's pretty much money for everything else but healthy faculty increases. And our faculty are very, very upset about that. And like I said, I mean, my phone was buzzing off. I had actually planned to spend the afternoon with friends of mine, and I had to excuse myself to take all these phone calls. Faculty are incensed, and it's like, why does the president and you believe that we will deliver if we don't get what we need? And here again, I'm going to emphasize that we had a decrease in purchasing power in the double digits. We make less real money than we did in 2020. So why do you believe that we're going to deliver on these very on these very big goals if you don't show us that you deserve, that you appreciate our hard work. And one of the things that really struck me wrong yesterday, and the more I think about it, the less I agree with that. So David Simmons, our president of the Faculty Senate, made a very good observation that we faculty spend our personal time to prepare for classes. So we use our personal time in summer to prepare classes for fall because we're not given time during the spring semester to prepare courses for fall. And then we're spending our personal time during Christmas to prepare for spring classes. Yet you're only offering us 2% per year. And we're working plenty more than 40 hours a week. I mean, ask any faculty member, and I think under, was it Tedlock, where they did that study of how many hours per week do you put in there? Faculty work plenty more than 40 hours a week. So we're basically producing the research that you need in order to get the grant money to be AAU, to become one of the top 25 research universities in the nation. And then I hear faculty are the key and faculty are great and we appreciate our faculty. But you know what? We need more than a pat on the shoulder. We need to be able to pay our bills. And we've been stuck on your 2% for over a year now, and it is not acceptable for our faculty. They're not going to take that, and I can guarantee that. And we have a lot of people who are very demotivated right now.
Well, we certainly appreciate the faculty for a variety of reasons. A 2% wage adjustment seems to be in the realm of what's resolving contracts in the state university system. The other faculties at those other universities are ratifying agreements in that range.
Well, yeah, but they don't live in the Tampa Bay area, which is one of the areas. It's the number one area that has received the most explosive price increases. If you look at national statistics, and I handed them out last time, the Tampa Bay area is the most expensive in terms of cost of living increases in the United States. So if I'm a university in North Florida, where my cost of living is fairly low, I can get along with a 2% increase, but in the Tampa Bay area, we don't. And being close to the beaches does not make up for us having a lot of faculty members who make so little money, and that's another thing that we need to talk about, that they need to teach as adjuncts at other institutions just to make a living. And by the way, that has been outlawed by the university right now. So we are having faculty who are scrambling by, who are living from paycheck to paycheck, who need to do additional work just to be able to survive. And they're hearing the 2%, and that's just not enough. And what we put on the table last time was that 5% lump sum, $5,000 lump sum is actually a decrease of what we asked before when we asked for 5%. And here again, our interim chair, that was well over $700,000.
$730,000. So the 5% raise would have cost $730,000 more than this flat $5,000 raise for all faculty. So I mean, my sister's was going to bazaars all over the Far East when she was traveling and dickering people. One person starts high, the other person goes low, and they approach the middle. So we're waiting for your response for our lowering our proposal.
The $5,000 recurring flat rate, did you figure out how much total that is to percentage and what the total is?
Yeah,
What that equates to an average percentage? And then what the total is?
it's slightly before 5% on average. Let me see. I sent you that email, right?
You did send me the email, but I don't access my email on campus
Okay, let me just.
for
see.
security reasons.
Okay, so let me see if I have, because I sent you the numbers and I might be able to get hold of it here. But they were both about $8 million.
Yeah, but the $5,000 lump sum per year
Mhm.
for 3 years is less than 5% per
Yeah,
year.
yeah, it's $730,000 less. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure if it's actually in this account.
You send it to me from your Tampa Bay RR account.
So I'm trying to, okay, so
Good
here
idea.
it is. 5% raise would be $9,240,144, according to the unit list we received on Monday. The $5,000 each would cost $8,510,000. So that means we reduced our salary proposal by $730,144. So do you counter propose 3%?
Yeah, 3% is still nothing that our
Well,
faculty
we will then counter propose to that. So that's the way it works. That's the way it works in all the bazaars in India, I can assure you.
Well, and also usually that's how it works when you do bargaining. Okay. So much to the salaries, because I don't think we're going to get an answer from you today.
No.
Okay. Then why don't we turn to Article?
This was the question before. So again, you're taking out satisfactory and above to get the 5,000.
Well, you had a problem last time that we call it merit lump sum, but then we struck out that faculty who do have active performance improvement plans on records should not receive that. And with the PTR and how non-objective these decisions are, we don't want our faculty who have been placed on a PIP due to PTR, we don't want them to be punished by losing out on the pay increase. So we went ahead and we just took out the merit and the performance space. Because let's face it, we have a lot of people who are doing a lot of very good work here for the university, and they have deserved a pay increase. And with the number of non-renewals we've had, you have plenty of ways to get rid of faculty members who don't perform. So let's go over to Article 20.
Just real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
So first of all, thank you for the materials and for walking through and showing us kind of what this, rather than us reading it on the fly. It sounds like you understand that we're talking about different populations, right? The auto workers in New York versus faculty at state universities in Florida. So, but that's still something you're saying you have to deal with, because some faculty may see the numbers or the news articles, things like that.
I'm being practical. If we're going to have a contract ratified, it has to be ratified by the faculty. What the faculty see in the news are the raises that are reported in the news. That's the reality.
So it seems like we've talked about the response rates for the UFF surveys for what percentages they would accept, what they wouldn't accept. It's possible some of this could be factoring into why you're getting the responses you're getting about what's acceptable.
Well, the thing is that the response rate, according, at least I checked Gemini, I seem to be quite happy with it. And it certainly is several times that of the survey that President Law talked about yesterday on the university. So,
Not the rate specifically, but what
I think
their responses are as to what they'll accept.
I think that faculty are expecting something in the neighborhood of 5%. I think
This could be part of that.
Well, certainly people read the news, and I think that expecting certainly the union is not prepared to launch some kind of media that's saying that 2% is okay. So we are only going to agree to a contract that we can in good faith sell as something that is in the interest of faculty and the institution. And quite frankly, doing something about salaries is in the interest of the institution, because there are, yesterday President Law was talking about being AAU, but there are other universities around the world that have sent headhunters into Florida. And, so that's something to think about. There are other places that would like to be AAU, and William Randolph Hearst showed how to get a newspaper to get in the top league in 5 minutes flat with a bag of money. And actually, several foreign countries have handed large bags of money. Japan, Netherlands, France, they're all allocating
recruiting.
large amounts of money, and they're sending headhunters into Florida. So, I mean, this is other than the issues of morality and equity, this is simply a matter of protecting USF's position as a university.
As a AAU university
Yes.
too.
Because AAU can be revoked.
Yeah.
So
And
AAU
also-
has been revoked in the past to
Yeah.
universities that did not meet their standards.
So I have a question here on the map. Florida's lumped in with states going all the way up to Maryland, I assume Washington, DC, Virginia.
Mhm.
Are those across the board equal among all these states in
I'm
this
sure
region?
they're
Or are there
not.
differences with
I'm-
Florida and Maryland and
I'm
DC?
sure they're not, but I think that kind of nuance probably escapes the people who are going to be voting on ratification. I rather doubt that faculty will care very much how much raises other US universities get. That is the reality.
And they won't care what the rest of the university.
What
raises are
what
gonna-
matters is what they read in the newspaper all the time,
Yeah, but-
and they see much higher numbers than that.
Yeah, but Greg, they also vote with their wallet. If I experience that my purchasing power is going down, then I don't really care that North Florida got the 2% raise, because I know that in Tampa, I can't afford to live with the money I get. And let's not forget that we have a lot of faculty members who make very little money.
We
And
lost
then
two
also-
in our department, we lost two in our department to New College, because they were going to get paid $20,000 more a year. And they left.
That's a very important thing.
Uh,
But also we have,
Instructors.
yeah, we have the statistics that 1/3 of Florida faculty are looking for a position outside of Florida. Okay. And that's something, I mean, we hired on with the USF because we believe in the mission in education, in research, and so on. But if you can't afford to live here, and if your burden of work becomes more and more because you have all these huge goals that you want to reach, and we know that we are the ones to deliver on these goals, yet you're not showing us the respect and dignity and allow us to live in without having to worry where's my how am I going to do my groceries and stuff. Why would you expect faculty to deliver on that? I mean, we have all the research on quiet quitting. We have all the research that a lot of faculty across the United States actually are doing just the minimum that they are required to do because they're so ticked off about book bans and rights taken away and not enough money. I mean, how do you motivate people? I used to work in the College of Business for God, my career as a faculty member. And we teach in our management classes how you motivate people, and money is a big motivator. And if you send the signal that you don't appreciate us, that you don't want to make it possible for us to live a life outside of academia where we don't have to worry about money all the time, then that, of course, is going to be bounced back to the university in, well, why should I prepare my classes over Christmas? For spring? Why should I spend my personal time in summer to prepare classes for fall? Because you apparently don't take that into account. I don't have to do this.
And there are people who are going to listen to Dear Abby's telepathy, which is you can not only vote by your wallets, but you can also vote with your feet. And I remember when USF had announced forming this College of the AI. And the truth is that there are a whole bunch of other institutions, including a whole bunch of AAU institutions, that were going to hire a bunch of people. Johns Hopkins, I think, was planning on hiring something like 70. And, you know, they had numbers like that. And Wired ran this rather snarky article saying, do you know how many AI PhDs are there? And you're competing with industry. And the thing is that in many ways, you're competing with industry here at USF. People can get tired of faculty, being faculty. You can actually make more money in industry if you work on projects that you want to work on. And incidentally, AI is a threat to that because, as has been pointed out, developing AI is a major moneymaker, but so is developing applications for AI. And when you're talking about developing the application for AI, you're talking about practically the entire faculty. So there are jobs out there that pay a lot more. All you have to do is sacrifice some of your freedom, which brings up the issue of, you know, are you going to try to take that away? But for the moment, we're just talking about money. And we're saying that you can have a problem. I did report to the Faculty Senate. You may recall this, Steve, that over the last 5 years, the approximately 31% of the people in the bargaining unit in 2020 with 9-month contracts are not in the bargaining unit anymore. And for people with 12-month contracts, it's something like 60%. So things are happening. And if you want to protect USF's position as an AA university, you can't simply say, well, faculty are going to be reasonable. Faculty have their own agendas, not yours.
Okay.
And then another thing before we turn to Article 20. So since I know that I'm not allowed to do this anymore, I had been tasked by the committee to reach out to people identified by fellow faculty members and committee members to take over the position as chief negotiator. So I spent the last 3 weeks on the phone, and I have talked to dozens of people, and there were a couple of reasons of why people didn't want to take on this position. One of them is they're leaving USF. They're planning on leaving, whether it's through retirement, early retirement, or looking for work outside of USF. Another one was they were just so angry that they really didn't think that they could handle the position without, well, one person said that I have this gravitas and they really admire that, and they couldn't handle it without blowing up. And another one was, and I was really, and having been grievance chair for so long, it really has brought this home. But another big reason was I heard so often, I'm a single parent, I need my paycheck, and I'm afraid if I step into your shoes, there will be retribution. And that is a really sad thing to say, you know, that faculty are actually afraid to take on an active role in the union because they're afraid that they were going to be penalized. And I'm going to leave that here for you, just food for thought. And then unless you have something else about Article 23, can we move on to Article 20?
Steve Lang wanted to remind me of that gigantic AAUP survey this summer, which had 4,000 faculty members reporting to the AAUP. And about 1,000 of them said that they were sending out job applications out of state. So yeah, as you said, SUS universities have 2% raises. It is possible that all SUS universities are in trouble, except of course New College, which is throwing large amounts of money around, but who knows how long that will last. So this is not just a matter of justice, equity, morality. It is also a matter of protecting the mission of the university and protecting its standing.
Mm-hmm. Especially with everything else going on in Florida. So then let's turn to Article 20. So you gave us your proposal last time. We decided not to entertain it because we are not going to give up our right to go to arbitration. So on the first page, we just, because we've been doing this, grievance form have been filed by electronic mail for quite a number of years. There is no reason not to put it in the contract. Facsimile, I don't really think, do we still have faxes in the university?
Yeah,
There's several.
There's several, should I leave it in?
no,
No,
email is fine.
yeah.
And then under filing, we expanded the 30 days to 45 days simply because of the way, and I get to it later on when I introduce the grievance numbers. But a lot of faculty, it takes them a long time after they have found out that there was what they think was a violation of the contract to decide whether they want to file a grievance for quite a number of reasons. A lot of them are just afraid that they stir the pot, that they put their foot in the hornet's nest, and that they're going to be treated even worse after having filed a grievance. So we usually allow them time to make up their minds. I'm not pushing anybody to file a grievance. Never have, never will. But they have to really think about what they want to do. And then that usually takes time. And then we really like the FAU, and that has been passed. So the FAU grievance article, their contract has been ratified. So there's really no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. So postponement. So here basically the grievant who filed a timely step 1 can request postponement, during which we try to figure out how to resolve the grievance without going through the grievance process. We thought that was really, really a good idea. And then if the grievant or we can't figure it out without going through the grievance process, and we file, we basically say, okay, we want to go step 1. We meet within 10 days. Okay. And after or at the step 1 meeting, like usually we have the right to present any evidence in support of the grievance. And then decision, the university representative shall issue a written decision stating the reasons therefore. Within 7 days, right now we have like 30 days from the step 1 meeting. There's no reason why we can't shorten that. Other universities have a shorter period. And then if we're not happy with the step 1 decision, we can file for the step 2 decision within 10 days. Okay. And then I took out some of that stuff because it didn't make any sense anymore if we were to adopt this. And then step 2, we agree to meet after we've handed in the formal request for step 2. We have 7 days instead of 15. And then prior to the issuance, and we found that was really, really important, prior to the issuance of the step 2 decision, the designated university representative or the grievant may request that the grievance be referred to an internal advisory panel. Within 30 days of this agreement's ratification, the UFF shall notify the university of 6 faculty members who may serve on the advisory panel during the duration of this agreement. This comes straight out of the FAU contract, which I said has been ratified. So if requested, the advisory panel will consist of 2 faculty members selected by the UFF from the group of 6. The office of the provost will designate an administrator to serve on the 3-member advisory panel. The members of the advisory panel shall not have a conflict of interest and not be from the same department unit as the grievance. And that's really important because we don't want to stack this advisory panel with people who will automatically be on the side of the grievant. We want to have something that is as unbiased and objective as possible. This advisory panel shall have access to the step 1 grievance form and written decision. they will provide the designated university representative and the UFF representative with its written non-binding findings and recommendations within 20 calendar days. And then the designated university representative shall issue a written decision stating the reasons for the decision to grievance step 2 representative within 7 days following the conclusion of the review meeting of, and so on. And then we put in there, like a lot of the universities that have already have a ratified contract, that little thing in point 6 per Florida statute 1001.741, personal actions and decisions regarding faculty, including in the areas of evaluation, promotions, tenure, discipline, or termination, may not escalate to arbitration. And then we also put in there, if this is overturned
By the courts.
by the courts, or the legislature is not going to push this anymore, then the prior language below will immediately be valid and in effect. And then the only things that we changed in that is the numeration. Okay. And we just fixed some of the numbers to reflect that we have changed the days allowed in order to handle a conflict. Okay. Like I said, this comes straight out of the FAU contract. It has been ratified. So we didn't really see any reason why this should apply at USF.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I got one small one and one maybe larger. So on F2E3,
UE3.
so if requested, the advisory council will consist of 2 faculty members selected by UFF. So if there's, then it says the office of the provost. So if there's a grievance in the College of Public Health and the College of Nursing, the office of the provost will select the designee.
Well, you select the person from that you want to
Right,
represent.
But
the
even if
university.
it's on the, because office of the provost doesn't have any authority over the College of Nursing or the College of Public Health. So
Well, then we can change that to include that there. We don't see any problem with that.
the second one is a little, I guess, this extension meeting at the beginning. And I keep kind of reading it as fast as I can get through quickly. So who goes to this meeting? The respondent,
The
the
respondent,
grievant,
yeah.
anyone else? Just the
Well,
respondent
if the
and-
grievant wants to have a UFF representative, we would send somebody to go there, but it's supposed to be like an informal meeting. It works really well at other universities who have quite significantly lower number than
would the
grievances.
president's designee attend too, or?
Well, I don't see any reason why we can't write that in there.
Okay.
To just to make it fair. But like I said, other universities have a lot less grievances than we have. And trying to get us to that lower level, I think, is important for quite a number of reasons. Number one, it eats up an incredible amount of resources, both for USF and the UFF. And number two, once we get to a step where that formal grievance process is being followed, I think we're dealing with respondents who kind of feel that they're placed against the wall and we're coming at them. And we're trying to avoid that. And like I said, this works very well. FSU has something that is fairly similar to that. And they have most of the grievances they have are not really grievances. I mean, that follow the formal grievance process are not even what we here would consider to be grievances. A lot of them are assignment disputes. So, I mean, having
That too.
it's a little bit different, but they basically have that. The reason we adopted this instead of FSU, because FSU is really complex, I mean, it's like we would have to change the whole article throughout and rewrite everything. And it's very, very complex. This is a lot easier, a lot more straightforward. But FSU has something that is fairly similar. I checked with their grievance chair, and they just don't have the number of grievances we have. And I really think it's more healthy for the culture of the university, for faculty morale. And like I said, it saves a lot of resources to prevent things from being thrown into that formal grievance process.
And so the grievant is the one who would request
Yes.
that if the respondent wants to request it, does
Mhm.
that trigger it also, or is it strictly if the
It
grievant?
it says that in there, right?
Yeah,
Does the
No, it says the
may
grievant.
timely-
No, the grievant.
It says both, doesn't it?
It says both.
It's just both of them.
Oh, it says both.
It does.
Well, it
It's
says
worked
both,
on so many different articles,
because
so
both can go to the panel.
Both can go to
Okay.
the panel.
Both of them can request an advisory
Mhm.
committee.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
either.
Not the advisory committee, I meant the first.
Oh,
We'll talk about that first pre-grievance,
oh,
That
that.
is the grievant. That is a grievant.
Okay.
right, and then let's say, there's, because when there's a notice of a grievance, it comes to me, then I send it obviously to the respondent, so they are aware. If the respondent says and is aware, that's all, it should be aware of the CBA says, well, I'd like to request this
Mhm.
meeting.
I see where you're coming from, Steve, but and I know that you don't like to hear that, but we have a lot of faculty members who are afraid of their chairs. So if you have a chair who requests that meeting face to face with a faculty member, you're probably going to have faculty members who are just going to drop it because they're just not willing to go there.
So just so it's only the grievant can trigger it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I've got a quick question. Is this process that you're proposing of an advisory group, is that only for grievances that are individual personnel actions? Like, to review like a disciplinary action? Or would it be any kind of?
Any kind of
grievance?
grievance.
All right, so even if it was like a chapter grievance on a contract interpretation?
The advisory panel. Okay, that's a very good question, Mike.
It is a good one.
That's a good one. Well, I don't see why not. I mean, we're always open. I mean, it's you should go to a UFF Senate meeting. Democracy is messy and it takes a lot of time. You have to take into account a ton of different opinions. I mean, we have suffered through these meetings. But I think having or soliciting opinions from others before making decisions, I think would actually be a good thing.
It looks like the panel there's a kind of a bench proposed by the faculty, but the panel itself is 3 members with 2 of them selected by the union. Is that correct? Or
Yeah, but
From
those
the
are, yeah,
union
but they wouldn't be from
The same
active unit.
department.
They wouldn't be
Same
from the same department. And I would even go as far as maybe proposing that they shouldn't be in the same unit,
In the same college even, yeah.
Yeah.
necessarily.
We want an unbiased process. We need an uneven number for ties. And since the president's grievance representative is going to make the final decision, I think it would be fair to have 2 faculty members on that panel in order to even out any perceived discrepancies.
But say the College of Arts and Sciences is so big that
Yeah, it is.
probably
Yeah.
have, I mean, you can, you might
Yeah.
have someone from the College of Arts and Sciences on it, it's half the university, so that's might be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we can hammer out the details. I mean, this
Okay.
comes word for word from FAU.
Words. They don't.
Yeah, we're like, and I have no problem. We have no problem taking that into account. We're just trying to come up while the lawsuits are making their way through the system. We're trying to come up with something that is reasonably fair, even so we have to acknowledge without due process, you don't really have a contract. If you can't enforce a contract, you don't really have a contract. We are very well aware of this, but this seems to us to be in the climate that we have to work in, this seems to be fairly fair.
So. Right, I understand that and appreciate that. So now my question is again on this panel, not on the first step. So
Mhm.
the decision of the panel, non-binding, is it, and again, I'm trying to read, my parents, I just wasted money on my Evelyn Wood speed reading. That decision, non-binding decision, is that part of the official every grievance is
Yes.
an official record, so that's part of the official.
Yes.
If, let's say, courts overturn the non-arbitration, then that would go up.
It's part of the
To-
official
okay,
record
and
because
so-
it is part of the official
Okay,
grievance.
so then the decision, well, I guess the contract wouldn't bind the decider what to incorporate or not, but then the decision by the president's representative would reference,
Mhm. And it
presumably
would
would
be-
reference that
Mhm.
non-binding, why they might agree with it, why they might
Right,
disagree with it, why
right.
they agree in parts. not
Yeah,
in
and
other
it would
parts.
become part of
And
the
that all becomes
appendices.
part of the record.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it would be part of the appendices.
And then if either we accept this, and I'm by no means saying we would, or the courts overturn the ban on arbitration, all that would get sent up to
Of
the
course.
arbitrator.
Mhm. Yes.
When we talked about this, I think probably the first time you were saying how you wanted some sort of independent review.
Mhm.
Obviously, that was a big driver for potentially amending Article 20. We did present amendments to Article 20 to include an independent fact finder step, which would also be
Yeah.
non-binding statement of facts. It doesn't look like, unless I I don't think any of that was
No,
carried over
we
to this, right?
didn't.
This is just
No.
the FAU language.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Well, and I can explain to you why we did not accept that. Number one, it's only one person. And we don't think that one person, you need that back and forth. You need a committee that because I mean you come from a different background than I do. And you can't just have one person with one opinion formed by their own experience to deal with this. We need a variety of people. And number one, your language that it was only the university representative who could
Right.
ask for the fact finder,
And pick
which
the fact finder.
yeah, and pick the fact finder. We don't agree with that at all. We're trying to create an unbiased process, or as unbiased as possible. We had brought former versions of this article to the table where we had, after the decision on step 2, where we had like a panel who would take that decision and make another decision on top of that. You did not agree with that because you consider that to be a violation of the law. We decided to take your position into consideration, and that is one reason why we chose this language.
So I'm sorry for asking all these questions, but
No, that's
Good.
good, but that's why we're here, Steve.
if the panel of 3 doesn't agree among the 3 of them, would they write like a majority and dissenting opinion? Is there any
It would have to.
rules or
It would have
processes
to. I mean,
governing
that-
how that panel functions? I
think
don't know how FAUs works in practice.
Well, we
That's kind
can
of what-
contact them. I mean, we have meetings on a regular basis, so we're more than happy, aren't we, Mr.
Mhm.
Chair? To reach out to FAU to ask specifics, because I'm sure that they have more detailed language than they put into a contract, but we're more than happy to do that. Okay. But I think that was a good way to meet in the middle, because if I recall, your first proposal was to put another administrator who is above the university's representative to make the final decision. And for our faculty, that was not acceptable.
Yeah. I think some of the rationale behind our proposal was one, addressing the concern about not having some independent review, which we wanted to address, and that's why we include the fact finder. As for some of the other things, that there's only one person, that it's, I think some of that was just for efficiency, for the sake of efficiency. So like you've mentioned, for whatever, the university has more grievances by volume than other universities.
Mhm.
our proposal would have increased efficiency in our view because there's a lot of grievances for Steve to consider and to find out what the facts are. And for maybe more complex ones or due to volume, he could refer those to a fact finder and increase efficiency. He could get to a resolution of those faster. This seems like it adds more process where we've got longer on the front end that can be delayed. We've got a panel that's got to be decided on, the advisory panel, who's going to make up the panel. Then the step 2 rep still has to make a decision based on the advisory panel recommendations and maybe a dissent included and potential extensions to get that. It seemed so that's one concern I think we would have with this proposal. It does seem to add a lot more instead of making things more efficient.
Yeah, but it also makes it more fair in absence of arbitration. I mean, we're concerned with protecting our faculty, and we're going to get to that, to your question when we're discussing our proposal for Article 6. But we are for fairness, and I think our faculty agree that having a fair grievance process is more important than
An efficient one.
an inefficient one. Yeah. And we played with the numbers, and also it works for FU. There's really no reason why it shouldn't be working here. But having one person as a fact finder, and that person only brought to action if the university calls for it, that is just a non-starter for us.
I understand your position. I think the one fact finder also went to, this would be somebody whose task would be this fact finding. It'd be somebody who would gain experience doing it. And if they needed to do it multiple times, they would understand how to go through that process. In other words, if we could have a panel of a bench of 6, none of them have done it before. Each time you do it for the first time, that's going to be a completely new thing that a faculty member is not used to doing. So that went into the thought of having one who's that's sort of their assigned role, and they know how long they're going to be doing for, and they can be extended if they, are efficient at it and we feel like it's working.
I understand what you're saying, but we feel strongly that we cannot leave that up to one person.
I think that is a very pertinent objection to the entire jury system. But there is a reason why Henry II issued that edict saying that there will be juries.
Yeah.
No cap.
I don't want to lose my
Moving
hand
into the
here.
present,
Yeah.
so I understand your point about wanting 3 and not 1.
Mhm.
And maybe Greg could correct me if I'm wrong here, but with math, there's going to either be 2 from UFF or 2 from the administration and 1 from the other. I understand why you would not want 2 from the administration. Was there, when you were going through this, did any thought into, 1 from UFF, 1 from the administration, and a neutral?
Yeah, but who would the neutral be? I mean,
Well, that's why I'm asking if you.
Well, the thing is, we have brought forward once before that we would have 1 member at large, but then we would have to. I mean, is it going to be like the member at large for the faculty senate, where we're just going to ask faculty vote for somebody? These are the people who have come forward willing to do that. Now vote who you want to be the faculty member at large, the senate member at large. We don't have a problem with this.
Okay, so there are alternatives to the 1.
Yeah, we don't have as long as faculty have a voice in that. And one of our concerns was, since the university representative makes the final decision, we want to make sure that faculty have a voice in that process, in the fact finding, and to make that process more fair, because after all, it is the university representative calling the final shots.
Okay, well, maybe it's time for a break.
Yeah, I think we should.
We'll take a quick caucus.
Okay, that's good. So do you have any idea how long we're going to be? So
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay.
You want to go check on my parking situation, which was in trouble.
Okay, so stop recording.
Well, parking here is a lot easier than it was yesterday.
There's no. I just managed to get the location, so I went over to ask.
It's all about perception, isn't it?
Yep.
Marketing 101. Well, it's true. Perception is is reality, you know. Perception is everything that matters. And that goes back to your thing about what faculty expect in terms of races, you know. Perception is reality.
Oh, really?
Well, thank you for the opportunity of the caucus. I don't think we have any other questions. We had a good discussion in our caucus about the idea of the panel and the process of the panel. We'll have a response to you.
Okay, great. We do appreciate that. And now unless you have something that you want to bring forward,
No,
we would like to go to revisit Article 6, non-discrimination. And last time when we tried to, we had a proposal and you did not agree with us on that because you were not happy with the language. So we went and we reworked this whole thing on bullying, and I should have said bullying harassment. But when you turn over the page under point C1, we basically now state federal law via Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, as well as Florida law defines specifically what is classified as workplace harassment. Harassment and bullying cannot take place in the work environment, and any kind of bullying or harassing behavior based upon race, color, sex, gender, identity and expression, sexual orientation, religion, national origin, age, military status, yada, 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 is not allowed. And then we have turned this into the context of the CBA. Bullying is a repeated use by an administrator or other university representative of a written, verbal, or electronic expression or physical act or gesture or of any combinations thereof directed at an employee, sorry about that, causes physical, emotional. Oh God, you copied the wrong thing.
I'm looking at, says
It
physical.
says physical or emotional harm. to
Yeah, but
the
that's not what we did as the update.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry, that's my fault. I didn't have access to my computer.
That's okay. That's okay. Just
Okay.
take a
you want to
moment.
just read. what-
So I can read what I have, and
Okay.
I could also show it on the screen. I already have my USB.
Yeah, and
USB.
you can
My
transfer it to
apologies
us
for
later.
that. My apologies.
This one was supposedly.
Oh, okay.
I printed that off when she sent it out, so that it wasn't from this pool.
Okay, is there a copy, is there electronic copy then?
She's gonna pull it up off of her USB
Okay.
I'm just going
drive.
to make that smaller. I had it from the USB. Just
Good thing she's got it there for backup.
maybe go to the yellow folder.
Go to the yellow folder, and then the USB is DE. No, yeah.
It's different here, so, yeah, so I think we need.
I do apologize.
It's okay.
I did not have access to computer when Greg asked me for the final version. So here point C, we call harassment other than sexual harassment. And here we adopted language that comes from the federal government. Harassment is a form of employment discrimination that violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act of 1967, and the American with Disabilities Act of 1990. Workplace harassment by a supervisor superior in Florida is primarily covered by the Florida Civil Rights Act. This CBA adopts language from Title VII of the Civil Rights Act.
Typo.
Of 1964 to define harassment as unwelcome conduct that is based on race, color, religion, sex, including sexual orientation, transgender status or pregnancy, national origin, older age, beginning at age 40, disability or genetic information, including family and medical history, harassment becomes a violation of the CBA where 1, enduring the offensive conduct becomes the condition of continued employment, or 2, the conduct is severe or pervasive enough to create a work environment that
Greg,
why?
Greg,
Would you just let me do this? Or the conduct is severe or pervasive enough to create a work environment that a reasonable person would consider intimidating, hostile, or abusive. In line with anti-discrimination laws, the CBA also considers as a violation any harassment against individuals in retaliation for filing a discrimination charge, testifying, or participating in any way in an investigation, proceeding, or lawsuit under these laws, or opposing employment practices that they reasonably believe discriminate against individuals in violation of these laws. To be a violation, the conduct must create a work environment that would be intimidating, hostile, or offensive to reasonable people. Offensive conduct may include, but is not limited to, offensive jokes, slurs, epithets, or name calling, physical assaults, threat, intimidation, ridicule or mockery, insults or put down, offensive objects or pictures, and interference with work performance. Harassment can occur in a variety of circumstances, including but not limited to the following. The harasser can be the victim's supervisor, a supervisor in another area, an agent of the employer, a co-worker, or a non-employee. The victim does not have to be the person harassed, but can be anyone affected by the offensive conduct. Unlawful harassment may occur without economic injury to or discharge of the victim. The university is required to immediately take prompt and corrective actions to stop harassment by a supervisor that results in a negative employment action such as termination, failure to promote or hire, and loss of wages. The university is required to immediately take prompt and corrective actions to stop harassment by non-supervisory employees or non-employees over whom it has control, for example, independent contractors or customers on the premise, as soon as it is informed about the harassment. And then we just changed some of that stuff. Down here again, since Title IX has nothing to do with the union, it is in the purview of the university to deal with Title IX, which threw it out again, because the CBA is basically focusing on administrative and faculty relationship, and you have other ways to deal with Title IX, like your wonderful Maggie, who is heading that office and seems to be extremely competent. I'm going to email that to you as soon as I have access to my computer later today. And again, I do apologize. This language comes directly from the EEOC. So it has been vetted by lawyers, and therefore we really don't see any reason. And the reason we're putting this on the table, and we will insist on having harassment, bullying in this contract. Like I said yesterday, we lost a very dear faculty member due to suicide. And we have done our investigation of his colleagues. And we were told by multiple colleagues that he was basically bullied into suicide, and we will not stand for this. So our feelings on this are very, very strong. There's absolutely no excuse.
Karen, I do have some print copies. I printed out the correct copy and brought them with me, so.
Oh, thank
if
you
you
so
want
much,
them.
Cynthia.
Yeah, I brought extras, just not knowing, but this is the
You are
correct,
godsend.
that's the wording that
Sorry about
that she just read.
that.
There might be one more copy I'm trying to find.
That's all right. I'll get it. There's an article.
All right, thank you for that. We don't have any questions
No.
about.
You don't have any questions? Well, there was another issue that was brought up.
We're obviously, we're gonna have to look at the language.
Here's
You have to
one
look at
more
the language.
copy.
There's just something else that we wanted to because we were asked by your committee, so we put together the. Could I just, I'm sorry, Craig. could I
You'll
just-
need some time. It's organized or.
I just want you to have a print copy.
I know, but I appreciate that. I was wondering if you all needed to caucus and get organized for what you wanted to do.
No, we don't need a caucus, I'm just gonna go on. Because it was something that I think Craig, you brought up, and we went ahead and we just bullying is such a big issue. And so we looked at the number of grievances starting in June 22 to present. So we had more than that, but we had actually a total number of 44 grievances that were brought to us. 3 of them were thrown out because the faculty member allegedly was not in unit. So here we show the second half of 22, we had 6 grievances that we brought forward, 15 in 2023, 14 in 2024, and so far in 2025, we had 6. When we look at the grievant demographics, we have 10 white males, 17 white females, 1 Hispanic male, chapter grievances 3, Black male 1, Black female 4, Asian male 1, and Asian female 2. If you divide it by gender, you have 36% brought forward by males, 64 brought forward by females, and I think in terms of faculty in unit, 47% are female and the rest are male. So you see that females have a bigger problem with working in this university environment, feeling that their supervisors are not fair and are violating the contract as it pertains to them. Number of grievances per college, we do have a number of problem colleges. And here you need to look at the number of faculty members in the college. So having 8 grievances from the College of Arts and Science is really not that much because, as you said, Steve, 50%, almost 50% of our faculty works in the College of Arts and Sciences. USF World was a consolidation grievance. And you can see the other numbers that really, we do have problem colleges here. And then we also have the grievance outcomes and in that time span. And here the number goes down to 39 because we threw out one of the grievances. We had to abandon it because USF Public Record allegedly could not produce the files that we were asking for. And one of the grievances we threw out because even though we know that the grievance was filed, we were not invited to the step 1 and step 2 meeting. We also were not made privy to the decision, and please correct that in the future. How did we decide mostly denied? That is based on the faculty on the grievance reaction. And a lot of them that were mostly denied or partial solution actually left USF afterwards because they just didn't want to deal with it anymore. We had 5% were resolved at step 1. And then we had denied, now actually supported, we had 1 grievance that went beyond step 2 that actually was supported. No, 2, because no, it was only 1. It was a chapter grievance. One of them was supported at step 1. So yeah, I have another thing, and that is in to bring home that Article 20, we really need to work on this. In comparison to the other state universities, which just have an incredible number of grievances. There is no reason for this. We need to rework the grievance process to prevent this from happening. And that is really, really important. I'm not just talking about the resources that are eaten up. I'm dealing with, or have been dealing, thank God I won't have to do this anymore, with faculty members going through the grievance process, or faculty members reaching out to me, talking about grievances, who have been driven by their supervisors into depression, clinical depression, And just last week, I talked to 2 faculty members who have been diagnosed with PSDT. And I'm sorry, that needs to stop. So this bullying, putting this bullying or anti-harassment into Article 6 is of paramount importance to us. And now, anybody else wants to ask something or say something?
Okay, like I said, we'll we appreciate this copy and
Yeah, and you can take these, okay?
get a
And I'm going to make that available on
Okay.
electronically.
Yeah, we'll be,
Yeah, I will send that to you this afternoon
yeah.
when I am at my host's home.
If somebody could send me a copy,
Okay.
I could get it from Steve.
Shall I just send it all down to Steve right now?
Well, do you have the corrected Article 6?
I just swiped it from your USP.
Oh, okay, yeah, then why don't you just send that there?
Okay.
So they don't
I'm
have
gonna send
to.
it to you, Steve.
Yes.
And right now, and then you will have copies of
and
it.
then I will.
Could you also send
it
this
to the
because
team.
this is really
Okay, sure.
Yeah, sure.
I'll send all the stuff, right?
all the stuff that we presented today.
From your USF email.
USF email, yes.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. And again, I do apologize with the mix up.
Okay, well, I don't know if we had anything else. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Okay, thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck in whatever you're doing next.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm just ready to start the next chapter in my life, even though I have to fly back to Germany
Oh,
all the time. But
Is that good or bad?
well, I love seeing my family. I just don't like
All the flight.
the flights are really a pain. Even though it's nonstop, it's less than 7 hours from Boston to Frankfurt. And then my mom lives about 15 minutes away from Frankfurt. It's just very disruptive, you know. I mean, I'm still not unpacked fully. I haven't hung up pictures, you know. I would just like to have a comfortable home by Christmas.
Mhm. Well,
Well, I hope so.
hope so.
Your mom's okay.
Yeah. But it was 94, you know.
mm.
I hope I make it to 94.
Me too, me too, me too.
And so Greg, going forward, I'll be working with you on future dates and things like that.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to have a discussion on our team on how to handle this transition, et cetera. So,
Are you still gonna be on the team or?
I will still be on the team and I will still be local, but I'm not going to be leading the sessions anymore, I believe.
Okay, so Greg.
okay,
Mhm.
All right,
okay.
good.
So,
Okay,
All right, well, good. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
you're welcome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
um,
And this time I
Till
can't
the
even say have a good
graduate
weekend because it's only Wednesday.
I know.
Yeah, no.
does that have to?
At some point, I think the graduate students are gonna be here, but.
Oh, yeah,
Is that here? That'll be in here.
Yeah. that's no problem.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Greg, I'll be in touch.